What's up guys, my name is Ryan and I recently returned from road tripping across Namibia and I want to share with you my favorite places and experiences. So here's my Namibia top 10. Located in southern Africa, Namibia is home to some of the world's most beautiful and peculiar landscapes, from experiencing the coastal dunes of Sandwich Harbour to witnessing a herd of desert elephants. Namibia is sure to make you feel alive. Me and my wife spent 2 weeks exploring the wonders of Namibia, and I can't wait to share this video with you. To get to Namibia, we flew into the capital city of Windhoek and we picked up our 4x4 Hilux truck and started our adventure. The first place we went to was Sossusvlei. Located in the Namib National Park, about a 5-hour drive from Windhoek, Sossusvlei is home to towering sand dunes, auroch antelope roaming free, and the famous clay pans. The most iconic place in Sossusvlei and Namibia in general is Deadvlei. Now to get to Deadvlei, it's about an hour's drive from the park's main gate. The scenery on the way is absolutely spectacular with massive sand dunes on both sides. The road is all paved inside the park until you get to the Sossusvlei parking area, and this is where you can decide to either drive through the sand road or take the shuttle. We decided to take the shuttle because I didn't want to risk getting stuck. I saw several trucks that didn't make it through the sand, but if you are confident with your driving skills and have a good 4x4 car, you can give the sand road a try. Now if you want to take the shuttle, it costs about $10 a person. And once again, the scenery is just absolutely amazing on the drive in. Now when we got to the end of the road, we started the hike into Deadvlei. It took us about 15 minutes walking through the sand, and we finally made it to this iconic spot. Deadvlei is this clay pan with dried tree skeletons that are believed to have died over 700 years ago. There used to be a river in the area, but when it dried up, the trees eventually died, and since the area is so dry, the trees haven't decomposed and remain frozen in time. We had a late start to the day and got here around 1 p.m. in the afternoon, so it was just scorching hot, but the one good thing was that there was nobody else around. It's so surreal to walk amongst these ancient trees. Now overlooking the Deadvlei is the Big Daddy Sand Dune. It's the tallest dune in the Sossusvlei area with a height of 325 meters. I wanted to hike to the top of it, but it was way too hot during midday, so we came back the next morning when it was a lot cooler and started the trek. We began by walking along the ridge of the dune next to Deadvlei, and we were able to get views of the clay pan. As we got closer to Big Daddy, I was just amazed by the scale of the dune. After about an hour and a half of hiking, we made it to the top. We had the most incredible 360 view of the Namib Desert, and the landscapes just seemed to go on forever. After relaxing up here for about 30 minutes, we did the fun part of the hike and walked down the dune. It's the weirdest sensation. It feels like you're bouncing on the hot sand. When we got to the bottom, I just realized how huge this dune was. After, we started the trek across the clay pan back to the parking lot, and we walked through the mesmerizing Deadvlei again. While we almost got heat stroke on the adventure, it was easily one of my favorite experiences from our time in Namibia. After, we're going to head to Swakopmund. Now located about a 4.5 hours drive from Sossusvlei area, Swakopmund is this coastal town that was founded by German colonists in 1892, and the weather here is surprisingly cold compared to the rest of the country. Swakopmund is a great central base to stay for a few days to explore the attractions in the area. The main reason I wanted to come here was to visit Sandwich Harbour. It's where the Namib Desert meets the Atlantic Ocean. To get here, you basically need to go with an experienced driver since you're navigating through deep sand the whole time, and you have to watch out for the tides from the Atlantic Ocean. Now we went with this company called Sand Waves, and it was a great adventure. We left from the town of Walvis Bay and drove on the narrow strip of beach between the dune and ocean. We stopped and hiked to the top of one dune and were able to get incredible views of the area. After we got back in the car and drove on top of the dunes, it was a little scary at first, but we got used to it quickly, and it was such an adrenaline rush driving down the sand dunes. Our last spot was this phenomenal lookout that gave us the iconic view I was hoping for. After enjoying the dunes, we started to head back to Walvis Bay. The sea fog rolled in and just gave the scenery a completely different vibe. Felt like we were in a scene in Mad Max or something. Now another place you can visit in the area is Cape Cross. It's located about an hour and a half from Swakopmund, and it's home to one of the largest seal populations in the world. mean, there's tens of thousands of seals there. I will say it was one of the worst smelly places I've ever been. When I got out of the car, I was hit with one of the foulest stenches I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, it was so strong, but you do get used to it after a while. I stayed out with the seals way too long, and my clothes, camera, and hair smelled like seals for a day or two. So just a warning if you go. There is a boardwalk you can walk on, and even some seals managed to get up onto it. Now, regardless of the smell, I did have a great time watching the thousands of seals thriving here. After, we're going to head inland to visit Spitzkoppe. Located about 2 hours from Swakopmund, Spitzkoppe is this massive granite mountain that has been nicknamed the Matterhorn of Africa. The highest peak is about 670 meters above the surrounding desert. Now you can camp inside the park or also outside. And we had a great time just driving around the Spitzkoppe and enjoying the scenery of this area. It was just insane. I was planning on climbing to the top of the mountain, but our guide never showed up, so I'll have to try it next time. I really enjoyed exploring the landscapes around Spitzkoppe. There's this rock arch that gives you a unique view of the mountain. Now after, we're going to head to southern Namibia to visit the Quiver tree forest. It's located about a 5 hours drive from Windhoek, and there's over 200 of these uniquely shaped quiver trees in this rocky landscape. The area also looks incredible at night, especially if you're into astrophotography. I mean, the Milky Way behind the quiver trees just looks so freaking cool. Now another famous place in southern Namibia is Fish River Canyon. It's located about 2.5 hours drive from the Quiver tree forest, and it's known for being the largest canyon in Africa and the second largest in the world after the Grand Canyon. I mean, this place is pretty desolate, but the scale of it is just insane. After, we're going to head up to northern Namibia to visit Etosha National Park. Located about a 4 hours drive from Windhoek, Etosha is one of the largest national parks in Africa. If you look at Etosha from space, you can see the massive salt pan that covers almost a quarter of the park. And it's home to Namibia's best wildlife, such as giraffes, zebras, and elephants. What's great about Etosha is that you can go on a self-drive safari in your own car as you navigate the dirt roads looking for wildlife. Another great feature of Etosha is its water holes. It's a great place to sit and wait to see what animals come to get a drink, especially during the dry season. Another great way to experience Namibia's wildlife is on private game reserves. There's many throughout the country, and they offer luxury lodging coupled with incredible wildlife experiences. The biggest reserve in the country is Erindi. We spent 3 days here, and it was one of my favorite parts from our time in Namibia. I will say that we were some of the last guests before it closed for renovations, and I believe it will be open again in 2026, so just be aware of that if you plan on staying there. Now, while we were at our lodge, we would wake up and go out with our incredible guide named Coral in search of wildlife. We saw basically every safari animal imaginable, whether it was a group of cheetahs roaming around a waterhole or a pride of lions with newborn cubs. I mean, driving through the bush in search of game is one of the best feelings. I mean, it's just an absolute adrenaline rush. Some animals were very difficult to find, so we used a special tracking system to locate them. On one occasion, we used it to spot a leopard who was relaxing on a termite mound. One of my favorite places in Erindi was this fairly remote area that had these peculiar shaped mountains with a little waterhole, and this area was home to so much wildlife such as big herds of springbok and wildebeest. Now when we were here, we got to watch 2 big elephants feed for sunset, and it was just a magical evening and the perfect way to end our time in Erindi. Another cool lodge we stayed at to see wildlife was at the Uhab Game Farm. The farm is nearly 10,000 hectares and it's home to a lot of wildlife. Now the main reason I wanted to go here was to see the white rhinos. I mean, there's 3 of them and they're so fun to watch. The lodge was also super nice, and we were able to go on some game drives to see animals such as elands and wildebeest, and the surrounding landscapes here are just stunning. Now if you want to head to the very north of Namibia, you can visit Epupa Falls. It's located right on the Angola-Namibia border, and it's about a 10 hours drive from Windhoek. Even though it's way out of the way and difficult to reach, the beauty here is worth the effort. There's several lodges and campsites you can stay at by the falls. I particularly like the baobab trees that are perched on the rocks between the waterfalls. I mean, what a unique place. For our final destination, we're going to head to Damaraland. Located in northwestern part of the country, about a 5 hours drive from Windhoek, Damaraland is home to the famous Himba tribes and some of Namibia's most rugged and beautiful landscapes. The reason I wanted to come to Damaraland was to witness the iconic desert elephants. There's only a few hundred desert elephants in Namibia, and they have adapted to live in the harsh conditions of the desert. We went with Tyfel Fontaine Elephant Drives, and our guide Charles took us out deep in the desert in search of the elephant herd. After about an hour of tracking, we found a herd of 14 elephants. They were relaxing in the shade of the trees, and we spent several hours just observing them. The area was so hot and desolate, but it had this remarkable natural beauty, and the elephants added a magic to it. Since the area was so hard to live in, basically all the animals besides elephants and giraffes had left due to the lack of food, but somehow the elephants have managed to thrive here. It was so fun to watch the elephants interact with each other. There was a newborn elephant, and it was fascinating to watch how the other elephants took care of it. Charles explained to us that there was a female elephant who was in charge of the herd, and the only males were juveniles, and once they got old enough, they would be pushed out of the herd, which I thought was super interesting. As it got towards the end of the day, the elephants started to migrate to a waterhole, and they decided to walk on this desolate plain of sand right before sunset, and it created for one of the most spectacular scenes with the mountains in the background. I mean, it goes down as one of my favorite wildlife experiences. I mean, I still can't believe it. Charles says he hasn't seen them walk there for over 2 years. All in all, seeing the desert elephants was my favorite experience in Namibia. If you want to see the desert elephants, I can't recommend Charles and his guide company enough. Well, that is it for my Namibia top 10. There's still so much to see in Namibia, so I plan to come back for part 2. Let me know where your favorite place is in the comments below. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at shirley.films. It's Ryan, and we will see you later.